Here we go!
You're listening to the Video Game Show on URN.
Welcome back to the second episode. Welcome even to the second episode of the Video Game Show. I'm very excited to be here. The panel is Mark.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Very well, thank you, Mark.
Excellent.
It's good to see you. Dylan.
Alright, nice to see you again.
And Jack.
Hello, thank you for having me back again.
We are all back again, and this week we have got lots of news for you. We're going to be playing some games. We're going to do Hall of Game as per, and we're going to be chatting a lot. Hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it should be good, I think.
Yeah, I think we've got a good show plan. So we're going to start off with some news. Recently, or even yesterday, the new COD came out, and Jack has bought it.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm being stupid or I guess I'm just a massive fan of the Call of Duty series. I mean, I'm no good at playing it online. I'm still yet to play online for the Infinite Warfare yet, but yeah, I mean, I've played the campaign. I know we'll talk about it a bit later on as well, and yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed. I'm surprised by just how well it's going in the campaign so far. But yeah, I mean, I hopped on to play a couple of zombies games as well. The zombies looks really cool. I won't give away too many spoilers because, as you know, it is only a day old. I don't want to, absolutely just spoil it for everyone who is planning to go out and buy it. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Obviously, the one that I bought was the Legacy Edition, which comes with the Call of Duty 4 remastered version as well, which I'm really looking forward to playing. I played the first mission earlier, and it's looking very, very gorgeous.
Fantastic. We'll get into that later in the show, but I will quickly touch on Blizzcon happened, and Blizzcon is Blizzard. They have their annual conference, and Blizzard are the people who make Overwatch, World of Warcraft,
StarCraft.
So there's a big pedigree there. They've
Diablo,
yeah, makes great games. So it's been 25 years. It's a 25-year anniversary for Blizzard, so that's a big one.
They've come a long way since Rock 'n' Roll Racing for the Sega Genesis. I'll tell you that.
It's been quite a journey for them. But in their trailer, they included moments like Leroy Jenkins. I assume you guys have seen this thing. Someone will give us a quick breakdown because it is hilarious.
Okay, Leroy Jenkins is it's a meme. It's one of the I'm going to call it one of the first memes. In fact,
I think that's fair.
So from the early days of World of Warcraft, like 2004, it was I believe it was fake. I don't think it was real, but the setup was people prepping for a raid.
Oh, it wasn't real?
I don't think it's real. No. I'm not certain, but I believe the whole video itself was planned.
Oh,
but
okay, sure.
It's a setup for a raid, and it's all these guys like, yeah, okay, so we're planning, and you've got to draw aggro, and you're the tank, and you're doing this, and you're doing that. And then one guy screams at the top of his voice, Leroy Jenkins. It would have been good to line. I'm not going to do it. And he charges headlong into this raid dungeon and just ruins everyone's planning. And you should look it up. It's a pretty great video. Like, if people haven't seen it, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do a Leroy Jenkins impression.
Yeah,
but it's pretty good.
Spoilers they all. Yeah. No, it is very, very funny. And World of Warcraft, obviously, to the uninitiated, and I can't really imagine there are many, is a massive online multiplayer game, and you play as a character, and you go around and you can be like a warlock, or a mage, or a shaman, all these kind of characters, and you all play together. And Leroy did his best to get in the way of...
I think he did a good job.
I think he did do a good job. But we are going to touch on some news from BlizzCon, which was Overwatch. And now, we're Overwatch fans, aren't we?
I'm not an Overwatch. I like it, but I just haven't got it yet.
From what I've played, I really like it. I haven't got into it. I don't own it, but I've fiddled around with it, and that game is really, really
it's
well
very
made.
good. You got it.
They did a free weekend a while ago, and I played it then. And I didn't have the money to keep getting it. I was saving it for Timefall.
Yeah.
But I loved it, and my housemate plays it.
Do you want to give us a rundown of what Overwatch is?
Yeah, sure. So, it's a first person. I guess it's kind of like a MOBA, but not really. So it's a first person shooter.
It's a little bit more like TF2 than Dota. Like if you're gonna,
yeah, I think
it's more
that's
TF2.
fair.
Yeah.
It's a class based first person shooter, multiplayer, online, competitive.
Yeah, you get it. So yeah, it's you pick what character you're going to be. So it's in the same vein as with Call of Duty and stuff. You can pick if you're going to have like a machine gun or an assault rifle, whatever. Kind of like that, but much more class based. There's big differences between each one. So you got tanks, etc. You got your support characters, which do most of them do healing, but then there's one who I think nobody ever plays, which just like teleports you and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is it. She has a special teleport that gets you from the spawn area to the fighting zone.
Yeah. But it's I think there's a few different game modes. So there's one which is you gotta get your object from the start to the end and it only moves when your team are the only ones around it.
Oh yeah, the payload. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's again very much like Team Fortress 2. You got to get one thing from the start to the end. There's also like a King of the Hill type game where you got to capture bases essentially, and whoever captures it first and completes you got to be in it for a certain amount of time. Whoever completes that first wins that round, and I think you do 3 rounds, best of 3.
Yeah.
It was when I played it, and it's really quite fast paced. There's not really any sitting around waiting. Even as the sniper, you're often moving quite a bit, or at least I found. Maybe I'm just not a very good sniper. But
Yeah,
Who knows? Like maybe.
probably quite likely, really.
It's a first-person shooter. It's competitive, and it really heavily prioritizes using your different unique abilities.
Yeah.
It prioritizes team synergy, and it's really stylish. I think the most important thing about it, I would say, is that it has style.
The characters
Like, it looks great. It
it
sounds
does, you're
great.
absolutely right,
It feels great. Like, bar just the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
It's just a wicked
And as
game.
you said, like there's a lot of variety, and I think there are like 15 different characters you can play as, and every character is fully animated, and the guns have these special kind of animations they go through. Every character is very fully realised. The maps are great. The colours pop. It's absolutely,
they
it's
have a
lovely.
story to them, don't they?
Exactly, there's a
don't watch
backstory.
them. So there's a little banter between the characters at the
Yeah.
beginning as well, which is always fun, and that tells you some of the story, which is nice, because even if you don't watch there's a lot of, I think there's 6 now, shorts online which tell you the story, but even just listening to them talk at the beginning, you get some of it, and
definitely.
you like the characters really come across very well.
Yeah, and there's like a banter between the characters.
Yeah.
Like you'll get like one who's called Winston, he's this giant gorilla, and then you'll get this other guy called Lucio, who's like this sort of Brazilian DJ, and they'll just be bantering. And they didn't really. Obviously, it's scripted, but it happens randomly, and it is like it's a nice touch, I think. But the news that came from BlizzCon is that a new character has been announced, and this character has been teased and teased and teased for months, and people have been kind of working out what she is. But it turns out her name is Sombra. She's essentially a hacker.
Yeah,
I'd say.
I think the story is after hacking the Mexican government, she became the world's greatest hacker,
There we go.
or something equally preposterous.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, and she basically hacks characters, so like their abilities are frozen for a bit, and then I think she just gets in there and pops them with her gun.
Yeah, like she's got an SMG and she can teleport
Yeah.
like over short distances. She can become invisible for short times. So she's all about getting around, shutting down people's abilities quite for short lengths of time, working with the team. I think she can spot targets for her team as well. So if she hacks someone, it reveals their position to the rest of the team. She's mental.
That just sounds really overpowered.
But then remember that she's up against the turbocharged gorilla. So
She's not very
fine,
good at
but-
killing. She's not great at killing the other character. She helps the rest of your team do it, which I think might actually balance it pretty well.
Yeah, I think she is going to be a good. I think she's going to become a figurehead assault character. You're going to need her there to hack people.
Just at the centre of like a Reaper and Reinhardt or something. Like you got a shield and you got someone there doing some damage, and then she's just there shutting off other people's stuff left, right, and centre.
It's going to be really annoying actually to play her. You're going to be in a massive fight, and she's just going to use her ultimate, which is this massive explosion. Then you're all just defense. Your abilities are stopped. It's gonna be a nightmare. But yeah, so she was announced, and that's very exciting. And Blizzard are regularly updating the game with free characters and free maps, which is very exciting. So look forward to that. One of the big news stories is the voice actors have all been on strike. So since October 21st, the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, have been on strike over the working conditions of video game voice actors. And Nolan North, a character he's played. He's been in Uncharted, he's been in Infamous.
In Portal 2,
He's
he
in
was
everything, isn't he?
He was it. Yeah, he for a very long time before Troy Baker came along and stole his crown as the man who's the voice of everything.
Who's in everything, yeah.
Nolan North was in pretty much every game coming
Yeah.
out, even if it was just a bit part.
He's Hades in God of War and stuff, right?
Is he?
And he
Oh, I
was
didn't
the
know that.
Penguin in
He is,
Batman,
he-
wasn't
yeah,
he?
he's
Yeah,
also, isn't he?
he's in everything. And he had a really interesting interview actually, quite recently on Kotaku.
He
wasn't
did,
it?
yes,
Yeah.
actually. That's exactly where I am. And this, I mean, I have got verbatim here, but obviously we haven't really got time. So I will just say quickly what their manifesto was about this strike. Video game voice actors are routinely required to simulate painful deaths, creature voices, grunts, barks, and other stressful vocalizations that can strain and damage their voices, sometimes permanently. To minimise the risk and strain on performers' voices, we are demanding that vocally stressful sessions be limited to 2 hours, but paid at the 4-hour session rate. What do you think? Do you think that's fair enough?
It's reasonable. They
Yeah,
do so much, don't they? It's if you've listened, when you're playing your game next time, listen and see when you think what you think is someone speaking. All the other sounds that a person would make are also someone having to make those sounds, and they're not all the same sound. There's always lots of little differences and things like that. They do so much, and that's
Like, think about anyone who's ever voice acted in a Call of Duty game. That must just be like you go into the studio and then spend 4 hours just shouting
Screaming,
at the top of your lungs. Yeah, like it must be really brutal. Like I can see why this is something they want to fight for.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, as you said, like you really do have to work hard and give it everything, because the voice that you hear is someone screaming as they're dying. You can't half-heartedly do that. You can't they've got to properly go for it. There
was an interview with the woman who does Lara Croft in the latest Tomb Raiders.
Yes.
And they were talking about the same sort of thing, and because obviously she can die in so many different ways.
She really can as well. They've really gone to town on that.
Apparently she has to make a different sound for all of them, and the ridiculous amount of ways she can die in that. You've got to have a lot of different.
Yeah, definitely.
Weird sounds you're going to be making, and it's not going to be great for you. Is it?
I think so.
I think there was another interesting thing that came out of that Kotaku article as well, which was talking about voice actors getting told what role they're doing when they're doing it.
Right.
Because I think Nolan North relayed an interesting story about being at conventions and stuff after the release of Portal 2, and people saying, Nolan, we loved you in Portal 2, like your voice is really good. And he had no idea what they were talking about, and he'd done a bunch of acting for the personality calls at the end of Portal 2. Really, really unique, like really fun characters, and he wasn't told what game they were going to be in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had no idea he was in that game until after the game had come out, so like a year after he'd done the VO sessions, and someone had gone, you were wicked in that game. And he went, what?
Okay.
And it's that kind of thing where, like, how could he even have... Like, it's amazing those performances came out as well as they did, considering he actually had no idea he was going to be... Yeah, like, how do you voice act a robot head thing that's in Portal 2 without knowing that's what you're going to be?
Especially when Portal's it's got such a feel to it, doesn't it? It's not... You can tell it's a Portal game when you're playing it.
Yeah, out of context, it's mental, but actually, like, in the... So, I don't know how that...
Yeah, so I think these people, the voice actors... They seem to be fighting for a worthy cause. It seems like there are some things there that they deserve to get.
Yeah. No, well, it's a good point, really. But no, big up voice actors. So hope they get what they want. So we've had some BlizzCon, we've had some COD, and we've had some voice actors. So
yeah, we have indeed. When we come back, we are of course going to be talking about what we're going to be talking about, more games and stuff that have come out and what we're looking forward to in the coming weeks. But for now, here's one of course Mark's favourites from Pac-Man Championship DX Edition. This is the music from the start menu. It's an absolute banger.
So we're back, and that was the Pac-Man Championship song.
I think it's Pac-Man Championship Edition DX, which I think you can get on Steam for like £4, and you should all go play it because it's Pac-Man and it's future and it's wicked.
It was a banger. We had a little bit of a boogie in the studio, didn't we, guys?
I heard it described as music to break bottles to, and I think that's pretty reasonable.
I like that. I love going to bottle banks, so I'll remember that. Just some housekeeping. You can send us a text in on 07903 545 252, or you can tweet us at URN1350 and send us a free web text on the site that I imagine you're using to listen to us. Feel free to text in and we will shout you out and chat about you. Good things.
Unless you say something mean.
Well, that's true. Unless
we'll be rude.
Unless it says something really rude, in which case we will be not rude back, but we'll in kind. So we're going to do a review roundup, and as Jack literally got COD Infinite Warfare yesterday for the Video Game Show, he said. So we're that committed. So Jack, do you want to give us a breakdown of how you found it?
Yeah, I mean, I along with I imagine a lot of other people as well were quite skeptical going into Infinite Warfare. Obviously Infinity Ward coming back. This is their first sort of really futuristic game that they've done. We've obviously had Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare going into that sort of using the jump pack sort of route, and I, along with many other people, were skeptical. Like I said earlier, I'm not really that great at playing the multiplayer. But I sat down and played the campaign when I downloaded it yesterday evening, and I'd like to say I was pleasantly surprised by just how well they'd done it. there was a seamless transition between, you know, you're a cutscene where you're in an office and then it will take you out of it and your ship suddenly gets attacked and it will throw you straight into the action. You barely see. It's really hard to tell what is actually gameplay and what is actually a cutscene, and they've done it really, really well. Kit Harrington plays the main antagonist.
Yeah, Jon Snow's in it,
yeah, he is. He's in it as the main bad guy. And one of the early missions, I don't want to spoil it too much, is you play as an Australian guy called Wolf, and you're essentially you're base jumping to one of Jupiter's moons. I believe it's called Europa, and you base jump, you land on it. It's really cold and whatever.
Awesome.
You go and kill some dudes on the moon, and then you resurface, and there's some guys tracking you down. And you know, we were teased about Conor McGregor being in the game, and that's one of the first things happens is you get tracked down and you get beaten up by Conor McGregor. So he's in his natural habitat as an MMA fighter, and he comes and hunts you down and beats you up.
His natural habitat on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons.
I mean,
Nice for Conor.
it's incredible. But yeah, I mean, I think they've done it really well. I did play a bit of the zombies, obviously, when I was waiting for the campaign to still load up. I was playing some of the zombies. It looks very good. Again, I think it's going to take a bit of getting used to after obviously everyone getting used to playing the Black Ops 3 zombies, which I wasn't really good at.
Crazy.
It was a bit of a crazy zombies, but yeah, I mean they've taken it back to old school. So essentially, you wake up in like I imagine you're in like a movie somewhere, and it's in the 1980s, and you're essentially just trying to turn the power to this theme park back on, but obviously you've got zombies chasing after you.
Bit of an issue.
But yeah, they've gone very, very retro with it, and they've taken it back into like a sort of a theme park area where they call it the map is called Zombies in Spaceland. So it's you're on in a theme park called Spaceland, and you're trying to kill zombies, and they've got lots of cool things. You can pay in the zombies game. Every time you get a kill, you earn a bit of money, and you can pay that money to do various different things. There's like a roller coaster which you can go on, and you can go on the roller coaster and shoot zombies below you. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think they've done a really good job. And yeah, as far as the remastered Call of Duty 4 goes, it looks absolutely stunning. I mean, in prep for the release of it, I played the original Call of Duty 4, and you know, you look at if you look at the graphics comparisons, it's absolutely amazing.
Is it
what
good?
they've done
They've done
to
well
it.
on
It
it.
looks so beautiful.
Oh, wow.
How does Captain Price's moustache look?
Bushier than ever. It looks absolutely amazing. Yeah, I
Excellent.
mean, like I say, it's definitely one of the most anticipated games, and I don't know how. Obviously, there was a lot of hype about Modern Warfare 1 being remastered. I'm not sure how that's going to gauge with the multiplayer audience. I'm not sure if people are just going to mainly play COD 4 multiplayer and never ever touch Infinite Warfare multiplayer. But you know, that's one thing to be seen. Like I say, I haven't played the multiplayer yet, so I couldn't really give you a good rundown. But from what I've seen of it, yes, there are some levels where you're in space and it's low gravity when you're on the multiplayer, but there are some normal levels as well where you're on a normal gravity planet where you don't have to worry about floating away. I mean,
there is floating in multiplayer.
Yeah. I mean, there's floating in the gameplay when you're come at your. I think you're in your little space shuttle and you're jumping off onto an enemy ship and you actually float around in space. Now, let me tell you, they've nailed it 100% because
really?
I can't control myself to save my life in space, and it's absolutely amazing the way that they've made it sort of really realistic. As in, if you're in space, of course, there's no gravity. It's going to be hard to control yourself, and that's what they've done really well.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. That's a good feature. Sorry.
I was just going to say that game looks really, really interesting. Like, I didn't play Black Ops 3. I played a lot of Advanced Warfare. I like the campaign in that. I thought that was really cool. And I don't really touch the multiplayer in Call of Duty games. I think.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I think Infinite Warfare looks like a campaign that could be worth having a. I remember when they put out that first gameplay trailer at E3 last year, and there was a long time there where I couldn't even work out it was Call of Duty because it looked so
You're
far
absolutely right.
removed.
It was because I was watching it and then it suddenly went Call of Duty, and I was like, "What?
Yeah,
Call
like
of
it's
Duty?"
it looks like I'm a huge sci-fi fan. I love that stuff, and it looks like even though it might not be the pure Call of Duty experience that those guys on Xbox want, I'm really excited to play that campaign.
Nice
So I
one.
think it could be really
Does look very
interesting.
cool. I would say that actually, do you reckon back in the days of Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops, I would say nowadays, every year, there is a much more compelling reasons by each reiteration. Because people say, oh, it's the same every year. And I would say that was definitely not true anymore. Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, it's all getting so different.
They change a lot more now, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be like what they added
bit
dolphin
different.
diving into
Yeah, exactly.
Black Ops. And Black Ops is a great game, but didn't add much other than cool maps and a story that's actually quite interesting, but which is what you want from a game.
True.
But didn't change that much from the one before.
Yeah.
gameplay wise, but this one, if it's floating in multiplayer, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, but I mean, this is it. I mean, you mentioned. I know we're going to be talking about Battlefield very soon, but the EA and DICE, their franchise, they've moved it back to World War One. I don't know if we'll be seeing Call of Duty move back to the sort of earlier wars anytime soon, because
I think they'll go even more future.
I agree. I think they're going to go further and further.
It's amazing, because I've got up to the point now where I've stopped playing, and again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it seems like it's the campaign now is not going to be a linear campaign. It's going to be where you've got something going. So essentially, you're battling for the solar system, essentially, and
just a little,
just a tiny little battle for the solar system.
It's low stakes, this Call of Duty.
And what it is you're going up against some guys, and there'll be several things happening at once. So there might be like a ship attacking a base on Saturn, or something happening on Uranus, or something weird happening on Venus, and I mean, you can.
That was childish. That was so childish. He said Uranus, and I said.
Okay. Jack, is there something happening on Uranus, mate?
No, there's nothing happening on my anus at the moment. But yeah, let's gloss past it. So yeah, but essentially it's more becoming like a campaign where you can choose what sort of missions you want to do, which I think is very good, and it means that you don't just have to follow a path that is set out for you, and you can really make your decisions in your own time.
So before we move on from Call of Duty, because we do have to, Jack, there's something you mentioned to me earlier, which sounds really exciting. You said you've had some dogfights in space, in spaceships.
That is cool.
Yeah,
that's wicked. Tell me about that.
It's amazing. Again, I don't want to give away too many spoilers because the game is only a day old.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, you're in your spaceship. You're with a guy you're with a robot who's essentially your partner. He's called E3N, or you call him Ethan, and it's you and him are in the same ship together. And yeah, I mean the first bit is you're on your captain's spaceship, the Retribution, in space, and you get launched off of it. And then you're fighting other enemy spaceships in space. You get to target onto them. You fire rockets. You can get to shoot at them, and then you get to land back on your ship. It's absolutely amazing. And I think if you're a fan of futuristic shooters, then definitely go out and buy it.
Cool,
awesome.
I want to know how long it is until Call of Duty puts aliens in it, because that's quite far fetched.
I was just thinking that actually.
Did they have aliens in Ghosts? Was it Ghosts that had the Ghost zombie mode? Were you fighting aliens in that?
Oh, but I mean like campaign.
Oh no!
Ridiculous,
Okay,
isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But I want to know if there's ever a story.
I think the next Infinity Ward, they'll get some aliens in there.
That would be crazy.
Because it would be very not Call of Duty.
We're
but
entering Halo territory now, aren't we? Really?
Yeah, exactly. There's already a few mentions to it in this one.
Oh,
so there's one of the achievements you can get. It's very obviously not just they're copying. It's a sort of tribute to it. And it's a famous piece of concept art from one of the Halo games that they've remade in a very Call of Duty style.
Brilliant.
But it is. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
it's going towards it.
It is going there, I think.
But I think it's different enough. Definitely, Call of Duty and Halo have always been very.
No, that's fair. That's fair to say. But I think we'll move on to something completely different now. Mark has been playing Hitman.
Yes.
Can you give us a kind of a rundown of?
Okay, so Hitman. So Hitman is a long-running franchise. I think the first game came out in 1999 or something like that. They're primarily PC games, and they're third-person stealth action games where you play as the titular hitman, Agent 47, and you get given a target, and they're always these comically evil people, and you get put inside a large, like a sandbox level, like a hotel, or say like a man under witness protection, so it's like a whole neighborhood, and you have to sneak around, and like you can take disguises from people, and you have to try and assassinate this dude and get out, or dudette in some cases. And so the latest release of Hitman, which is just called Hitman, has been episodic. So it was announced at some point last year, and they were saying, so instead of the standard formula, which up until this point has been you get a game and it's got, say, 10 levels in it with 10 hits and you have to do them, it's once a month they put out a whole new massive level with a new target in it, but then also a bunch of other things to do. And so the reason I've been playing it is because the final level of this new Hitman game came out on Sunday. It's set in Hokkaido in Japan.
Oh, cool.
And it's a really high-tech health facility, and so there are people in there getting heart transplants and all sorts of stuff, and there's lots of ways to engineer outrageous accidental assassinations. Like you can set up there's an AI performing a heart transplant with loads of crazy robot arms.
Oh my god.
And so you can reprogram that to just saw the dude in half and all those sorts. The Hitman games are famous for their sense of humour. They always have. But I think the most interesting part about this episodic release, which I was incredibly dubious about, because I was a huge fan of the previous ones, is that it's worked so well. And it's worked so well that they've gone from saying on Steam, where you could click a button to buy Hitman The Complete Experience, to Hitman Season 1. And so I think they've put out now officially that they're going to keep doing this episodic release structure. So there's going to be a Season 2 either next year or in a couple of years' time, which is going to be another monthly release structure. And it's a wicked game. They do elusive targets, which is like once every 2 weeks. They put a brand new NPC into one of the levels. They tell you what he looks like, but they don't tell you where he is. And you get 24 hours or I think it's 48 hours in real life to find him. And you only get one chance. So if you die or mess up, then you can't get that guy anymore. And yeah, it's a really, really awesome game. Anybody who likes stealth action, anybody who likes assassinating people by dropping toilets on their head, like in the very first level, it's set in a huge fashion conference in Paris, and it just so happens the star of this fashion show is a model named Helmut Kruger, who happens to look very, very similar to Agent 47. He happens to also be a tall white man with a shaved head. And so you can knock him out, and you can steal his clothes, and you can get some makeup put on, and you can walk the runway, and then you can go and assassinate your targets.
Amazing.
It's really tongue-in-cheek, it's incredibly well made, it's really well executed, the episodic structure's worked so well, I don't have anything bad to say about it. And the latest episode came out, and I've barely had a chance to look around in it, because it's such a huge level. Like, all these levels they put out are massive. I think I've heard tell that somewhere in this latest level there is a DDR machine that you can play.
Really?
Apparently. I've yet to find it, but rumour is you can play
cool.
Dance Dance Revolution in it. It's an awesome game. Anybody who wants to play it, play it.
How long does it take you to play each episode?
How
much like gameplay we get out of it?
If you just go in and you just like mainline killing the 2 targets and getting out of there, you can do it in about an hour. But every single level has like 30 plus challenges and different ways of assassinating people. And it gives you little hints, and it will say, oh well, you can kill these people with 1 bullet. So then it's like, oh well, how do I set up doing this? And then it's got escalations in it as well, which will be, it puts you in the level and says, kill this random guy, and then it says, kill this random guy while dressed like this, and it escalates further and further till it's kill this random guy while dressed like this using this, but then also kill this guy while dressed like this and get out in this time and things like that.
That's really cool.
The actual like core content, if you just want to mainline it, there's not much there. But if you want to really understand the levels, if you want to work out all the nooks and crannies, you do all the challenges, unlock everything, because unlocks in each level carry through as well.
Oh, dear.
So I think if you get to the max level in level 2, there's an explosive rubber duck you can get, and you can bring that into other levels.
Oh, that's cool.
And I haven't quite yet worked out where's a good place to start using an explosive rubber duck, but I'm fairly certain at some point that's going to get pretty silly. Like it's a wicked game. Anybody who's into stealth action or just running around being silly and like dressing up like a clown and murdering people, like it's awesome.
Topical and fun.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Well, that sounds great. Oh, I'd definitely check that out. So
yeah, and I think also like you can get all the training levels, which is a couple of really simple levels, and the first really big level for like £7.
Right.
So even if you just want to have a taste, see if you're into the format, do it, and then you can get the rest of them for like 30 quid. And there's elusive targets to do, and they're going to keep doing them as well. Like even though they've finished and the last episode's out, they're going to keep putting out extra little one-off hits for you to go and do and try and work out. So it's and those one-off hits too. Like one took me 3 hours to try and do because it was huge. It was a big
payoff was satisfying.
Yeah, like I felt like a real assassin. Yeah, it's awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Everyone should play Hitman.
Definitely give it a go. So we are actually halfway through the show. I can't believe we've been here only half an hour. We need like a 4-hour slot, guys.
Yeah, we definitely do.
But Dylan and I are going to quickly chat about a week on how Titanfall and Battlefield are getting on, and then we'll have a song, and then we'll get on some console wars, and we'll do Hall of Game. It's all going to be great. Dylan, so how's Titanfall 2 a week on?
So when I first played it, obviously the first time you play a game you're not going to be that great at it. So a few of the new mechanics I wasn't too great at, so I didn't know how I felt about them yet. But now they're practically perfect. Like the grappling hook I use a lot. My main class.
It's really cool that.
And you can properly get it. So you're never having to stop. And I know I said it before.
Yeah.
But like when you're first doing it, you can't really use it as well as you'd think. But once you really understand how it's working, basically anytime you're not going to be very good with it isn't because of how the mechanics are working, it's because you're just not very good.
You're just not doing it right.
Yeah. It is an unbelievably well-made multiplayer, and it's so fast-paced and perfect. Sometimes you get put against a team that's way better than you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because obviously you've got these titans, the mechs, the giant robots. That when the other team all has those, and your team doesn't have any, there's not much you can do really. So then it keeps the gap gets a bit bigger. They need to maybe think that maybe need to fix that somehow. So the balancing there, but that's very rare. That's happened to me like twice out of what I've played.
How many games, Dylan?
It's been out a week, so be careful what you say.
1,000 games.
A worrying amount.
Oh, fair enough.
If any of your professors are listening in, they're going to know why you're failing your studies.
I only do it in between working. But yeah, it's a week on. It's
You're still having fun with it.
Great. Yesterday I wasn't playing too well, so I got a bit angry, but it was entirely my fault. I was playing badly.
Some rage, like.
Yeah, it's not gone downhill at all. It's just getting better and better for me.
Cool.
So
Well,
I definitely
fantastic.
recommend it.
I'm pleased to report that Battlefield 1 has given me the exact same. It's just got better and better. The other day I was in a trench in Germany, and I was running around with a shotgun, and then suddenly I was with my mates, we were all playing, and I was like, oh my god, I need my gas mask on, the gas is up here, and they're all like fumbling the gas mask, and then someone blows you up the C4, and it's just completely mental and chaotic, but actually amazing. And I've started playing Operations, which I hadn't played last week, and basically an operation is, you have these 3 missions online, and then you put them all together, and there's like a big narrative, so it actually makes sense. They're like, oh, the British invaded the Middle East, and they got the oil, and then you kind of play the mission, and you play 3 missions, and you try and defend or attack, and you push through the continent, and at the end these massive behemoth vehicles come in, so you have these trains, and you have these massive trains on the tracks, and you can sit there and these mortars and blow everyone up, or you have this massive zeppelin which you can sort of shoot off / fall off, which I have done and died, and you have these really cool, and these massive ships, so that's all really cool.
What platform are you playing it on?
PS4.
You're playing it on PS4, so how does that look?
Oh,
Does
it looks stunning.
Yeah.
And I haven't even got a very good TV. It's absolutely, honestly, it's 10 years old, that thing, but honestly, it's gorgeous. It looks incredible. My friend came in today, he was like, that looks amazing, and it really does. Like, it's just stunning. Everything is so well designed. The HUD that heads up display, it all just looks great.
France have always made good-looking games, haven't they?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm still having fun with it.
Have you played any more of the campaign?
No, I haven't. That is criminal, because I really should, because the campaign does look like a lot of fun. I'm having so much fun online that I haven't really got around to it.
Yeah, because there's that one mission in the campaign that I don't want to spoil, but from what I've heard, it's pretty silly.
It? Oh, awesome.
I think it might have been mentioned in our demo show that was never broadcast.
That was alright.
Yeah, it's I think there are some things in that campaign that seem pretty outrageous.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think I know the one.
But I should say, today I was playing, and I was on this kind of British thing, and I discovered you can get on a horse, and you can have a horse class, so you have a rapier, and you can just take it out of your shield, and you can just chop people with it, and it's just awesome. And you're like, you go around your horse, and you're just chopping people, and then there's a motorbike with a sidecar, and today I ran someone over with my sidecar and killed them. It was like the best thing ever. But then I was riding a tank. I wasn't in the tank, I was riding a tank, and I just suddenly fell through the map, and the entire map just disappeared above me. That's the only bug I've tried once. I sort of fell out the map, so I had to kill myself.
You're always going to get those sort of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing's perfect.
But apart from that, it's been fantastic. Loving it.
Sound awesome.
Definitely go and play it.
Definitely need to get on the campaign before the next show.
Yeah,
I want to hear about it.
Part 3 of Henry's Battlefield. I will have played the campaign next time, I promise.
Well, I'm gonna try and play some Infinite Warfare by next week.
Yeah,
so I'll see if I can throw in 2 cents on that one as well.
We can try and get it on it.
Yeah, we definitely can. We're going to go to another song now. We've only got 20 minutes left. When we come back, we are, of course, going to be playing a couple of games, and obviously we've got 4 more members to induct into our coveted Hall of Game that we are going to be doing. We'll give you a bit more information about that after this song, but here is the Zelda theme song.
So we're back, and that was the Zelda theme tune. Now, we really are short on time, so we're going to really crack through this. New feature, Console Wars. The panellists are given a minute and 30 seconds. They have to argue one console, and then I'll say switch, and they have to change the console that I decide. Dylan's going to go first.
Right.
He's going to do 30 seconds of PS4, and then 30 seconds of Xbox. We could do a bit longer if you feel, but...
So this is, he's going to have to explain why the PS4 is the best, and then switch and explain why the Xbox is the best.
We could do a minute each, but what do you reckon?
30 seconds I think is...
Okay, 30 seconds. Hey, he's quivering, people.
I'm an Xbox man.
So Dylan's going to start off with the PS4 30 seconds, and I'm going to switch. He's going to change to Xbox. Right. Are you ready? We're going to get an ident for this. That'll be good. Are you ready for this?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, carry on. So you can start PS4, and then you can do Xbox. Right.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, start.
So let's face it. I know I'm an Xbox guy, but the PS4 is a better console in terms of power. It's got, I think it's got better graphics than it's the same, but the processing power is slightly better than the Xbox. Generally, in terms of hardware, it is better, and it got cheaper quicker, I think, as well, didn't it?
And the games are better, aren't they?
I think that's questionable.
They are much better, yeah.
Missed the PS4 over there in the corner.
It's got some. To be fair, they did.
Switch!
Okay. The Xbox is less focused on, at least when they started, it was less focused on games. It was meant to be an all-in-one kind of thing, and you're going to use it for so now less so, but when it first came out, it was great for everything you wanted to do in your house. If you wanted to, just entertainment-wise, you could watch TV on it, play your games on it, and just generally entertainment in general, it was very good for. That the PS4 couldn't quite achieve, I don't think. The interface was way easier to use. At least I found.
And that's it. You're done. Well done. Well played.
This is tricky. Right.
I like how he sidestepped the PS4. We're going. The hardware's better. I'm going to push you next week.
To be fair, it is.
It is. To be fair, it is. Hold on. Right, Mark. Mark's going to do iOS, Android.
Yeah.
And then he's going to switch to Nintendo. I think go Nintendo first, and then we'll do iOS, Android.
Okay.
So he's going to talk about Nintendo, Wii in general, because I think that's fair. Right, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so the reason Nintendo are the best is because Nintendo, they weren't the first, but they're the people who nailed it. The reason that we have RPGs and adventure games is because The Legend of Zelda invented them. It's because Metroid invented them. Like, Nintendo and Shigeru Miyamoto and that team in the 80s and 90s basically wrote the book on video games as we see them now. And even now, when they're okay, so iOS and Android is as they're getting more powerful, they're getting better. It's gaming on the go, and they're getting really unique experiences because it's a different way of controlling things. You've got touchscreens, you have gyroscopes, and you can start to craft ways of doing things that are really, really different and unusual. You have little games that might only cost 99p to get, and they can give you a whole wild experience that you would never expect because someone's had to put the effort in to make it work on less powerful things. Better art, better stuff.
End scene.
It's stressful, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's because iOS and Android is a tough platform.
Boy, am I glad I'm not doing that.
Thank you guys. I think we got some really good balance views there. And
have to revise for next week.
I think that's not really in the spirit of it, is it?
I was about to say PS4. No, I'm joking. No, that was all good. I enjoyed that. So well done. Now, console wars went well. Now we're going to do another feature that we did first time around, which went really well. It's called Hall of Game, and we're going to chat about our favourite video game thing every week, and then that's going to go into our coveted Hall of Game. And Jack has actually made a cover photo on Facebook.
It's brilliant.
You should all like that Facebook page, by the way. URN Gaming Show.
That's the one. And every week that picture can get bigger and bigger and bigger, and by the end we're going to have a massive sort of encyclopedia type thing of all our Hall of Game things. Now, this week, Mark suggested we do villains, which I thought was a great suggestion. We did heroes last week, and now we're doing villains. So, we're going to go around the table, we're all going to chat about our favourite villains. So we're going to start with Jack. Who's your favourite villain?
Well, my favourite villain is a bit of a throwback. It is, of course, the Lord of Darkness himself, Ganondorf.
What a title! What a title!
He, for those of you that don't know, he is the main antagonist in the Zelda series, and yeah, he's essentially, like I said, he's the great king of evil, or known as the Lord of Darkness, and yeah, he essentially makes Zelda's life a living hell. I believe he captures Zelda, and then Link is on the quest, obviously, to find Zelda.
It's a Nintendo game, so a princess gets kidnapped.
And yeah, I mean, like I say, he is just one of those that he's been around for a good couple of years now, and I mean, every year they do revamp him, and yeah, he's a very, very, very sort of scary dude. I mean, when I first started playing Zelda, he would scare me quite a lot. You know, you see this sort of very big looking dark sort of figure looking at you in one of the early Zelda games, and you think, well, I've got to go up against this guy at some point in the near future in the game. And yeah, he's really, really he typifies scary for me. And yeah, when I was a young kid, like I said, just going up against him was
possibly one of the scariest moments in video games when I was young.
God, brilliant! Oh, that's a...
I know that was
Not
very
to
quick,
mention,
but-
he can become a giant pig monster as well.
Can he?
Yeah, Ganon. Ganondorf is the dude, and then Ganon is the massive pig monster.
Yeah.
No way. 'Cause
Yeah.
I always played Zelda games. I never got far enough to actually see what Ganondorf does. But wow, okay, that is scary.
Also, he's basically just Captain Falcon but green, right? First time I came across him was Smash Bros.
Falcon
So I
Punch.
never played that much Zelda when I was younger. So first time I came across him, he was literally just Captain Falcon, and it really confused me for a while.
Yeah, so Ganondorf ends the whole game.
Very, very brief, but yeah.
Definitely
Dylan,
deserves it.
who are you going to go for?
Right, so when I was thinking about this, I was thinking of picking a Halo character, but I thought that's a cop-out because I picked a Halo character last time, and I'm likely to pick a Halo character again, or a Halo thing again, because it's my favourite. It's my favourite series. But I thought, no, let's not. That's too obvious. So I went with the Joker from the Arkham series.
Nice. Mark
I know.
Hamill.
Mark Hamill, exactly, yeah. So there's been a lot of Jokers, and I know a lot of people will think when you hear the Joker, a lot think Heath Ledger in Dark Knight. But personally, I think Mark Hamill for me is the Joker.
And he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's but yeah, sorry. So yeah, Mark Hamill is the Joker for me, and he plays it in Arkham Asylum, the Arkham
Arkham series, yeah.
Yeah, the Batman games, yeah.
Because he also was
Not
the
in the
voice in
latest-
the animated series, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in pretty much the animated series and most of the films and stuff. He's not in like Brave and the Bold or anything, but
Yeah.
he's in a lot of them. But yeah, so his character in that is, I imagine a lot of people know who the Joker is. If you're listening to this, it's unlikely you don't.
You don't know who that is.
But yeah, so a quick rundown. He's Batman's biggest nemesis. Batman's got a lot of enemies. He's not a very liked guy in his city. But I'd say Joker is the biggest. And it's kind of because he's the opposite. It's weird. He's the opposite and the same, but it really comes across in Arkham. They really nail the character. You see a lot of times you get a character put into a game that's existed before, and it's wrong. But in the Arkham series, the Joker he is the Joker. It's not this version of the Joker. This is the Joker, and for that reason, I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Game. They've perfected this character, put him in a game, and you've got the essence of the character right there. And for that reason, I think he deserves to be a Hall of Game villain.
Fantastic. Mark,
Oh,
who have you got for us?
I have chosen the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Now, just before you get into that, I'm not a huge Metal Gear fan, but every time I look at it, there's always a big boss, a small boss, a
Okay, so
chubby boss.
I'll get into this. So, Metal Gear Solid 3 is, bizarrely enough, in the timeline, the very, very first Metal Gear Solid game. It takes place in 1964. And in 1964, you play as Naked Snake. A ridiculous name, I know, but your mentor is a female soldier named the Boss, who she is like the greatest soldier ever lived. She led the invasions at Normandy, even though she was pregnant, and they build her up to be this incredibly powerful figure who knows everything. She was like the best soldier ever lived, and she's your mentor, and you are sent on a mission as Naked Snake into Russia to go and rescue a scientist. And when you rescue this scientist, the Boss turns up, and she turns up and she kidnaps the scientist from you, and she defects to the Russians. And this is all very early in the game. And she becomes the bad guy for this. Well, she's not the ultimate bad guy, but your mission for Metal Gear Solid 3 is to go into Russia and to assassinate the Boss, who is your mentor, who spends the game stopping you at every turn. She psychologically manipulates you because she's known you. She taught you everything you know. She beats you down into nothing. And she is made to be this incredibly powerful character. And it's heartbreaking that she defects, and you have to try and deal with the fact that your enemy in this game is someone who is basically a mother to you.
Right.
And it all comes together in the end. This is where we have to start potentially talking about spoiling games that are 10 years old, because I don't really know if I feel comfortable doing it, because it's quite a good moment. But it all spoilers if you don't know the ending of Metal Gear Solid 3. At the end, it's revealed that she was asked to defect by the US government
Oh, wow.
to try and save face because of a political incident that happened earlier in the game. And so she knew when she joined the Russians and started fighting you that she was going to have to die to stop a nuclear war. And so she is the bad guy for the entire game. At the very end, you have to kill her. And it's awful. It's heartbreaking.
Because you now know.
Yeah, because you now know, but she cannot redeem her. She has become irredeemable from what she has done and what she's been asked to do by her country. And you have to kill her, and you fight to the death, and then you beat her, a life bar goes down, and then the game makes you pull the trigger at that last moment to kill her. And it's heartbreaking. It's a really, really brutal moment. But she's antagonised at this entire point, and you spend the entire game wrestling with these thoughts like, what do I do? How do I reconcile the fact that this person who I trust and is basically a mother to me has betrayed me and my country? And it's her final wish of having soldiers who don't have to do that, who can actually live for themselves and not have to give away their entire life for their country, is the reason the rest of Metal Gear Solid happens. Because Naked Snake, after defeating the boss, he becomes Big Boss, because he defeated the boss, obviously, because that makes perfect sense.
It does.
And he carries out what he believes was the boss's final will, and that has a knock-on effect of leading to all 10 other Metal Gear Solid games over like a 60-year period, and it's completely crazy. But the reason I think she's like the greatest video game villain is because she's not really a villain.
Right.
And she's such like a heartbreakingly nuanced character, and like as you play through that game and more about her's revealed and what she's done for her country, and the fact that her country has asked her to do this, and she will die a traitor, and she'll be known by everyone as this ultimate villain who almost caused the end of the world through like a nuclear war between the US and the Russians, and you're the only person who knows that she didn't.
Oh wow.
And she's a really, really awesome character, but that's why I think she should be one of the best villains of all time, because maybe she's not a villain.
Well, I like that. That's a really good one, actually. Yeah, that's a very
good
grey
story.
area with that. So villain in our Hall of Game. Well, that's a good one. I like to chat. I might go Wikipedia that. I don't think I'll play it, but I will Wikipedia the story, because that does sound pretty interesting.
What's your favourite villain, Henry?
I'm going to slightly cheat here, Mark. I'm going to cheat here, guys.
You're going to cheat?
So my favourite villain comes from the game Portal 2.
Okay.
But despite that, so I'll just quickly say Portal 2 is a game where you are a woman who's in a facility that is for testing of physics, basically just breaking new scientific boundaries. Anyway, you end up going into sort of stasis for however a long time, 6,000 years or something, and you wake up and you try to escape the facility to which you are eternally bound. Makes sense? And this facility is run by robots. One of them is called GLaDOS. There's this big AI. Basically, she's the one who, keeps you contained in this facility and submits you to these tests. And the idea of the game is you're trying to escape, and GLaDOS is the antagonist. However, has everyone played Portal 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I assumed you had. Spoilers.
Spoilers?
Spoilers. GLaDOS ends up becoming kind of the good guy. Kind of.
Yeah, because she was the bad guy in Portal 1.
And in that same
Yeah.
point, she's the bad guy at the beginning, and then you've got Stephen Merchant's character, Wheatley,
Brilliant.
who's also the good guy, but then he crosses with GLaDOS, and they become good and bad different. They cross roles at exactly the same point. And that's why I'm slightly cheating, because I sort of want them both in there. Because they're both villains, but they're both heroes.
Well, I think I think Wheatley becomes irredeemable at some point.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. They both, yeah. So the idea is at the beginning of the game, Wheatley helps you get out. He assists you, and essentially you wake up GLaDOS, and obviously she puts you back to testing, tries to get rid of you, and then essentially Wheatley tries to take over, becomes the bad guy, becomes the facility controller, and GLaDOS is stuck with you in a potato. And together,
Literally a potato.
Literally a potato. And together you have to take back the facility. Now I'm going to get into why I like her. She's this AI, so seemingly a robot, but she is very, very funny and so the things she said very evil. They're always sort of directed about how she has no life and how you're going to be eternally damned to this testing, and yet it's all done through an extremely monotone voice.
Yeah.
And so you're going to be told you're going to be killed through some computer voice, and it's
So, everything sounds very sardonic, doesn't it? Like it all sounds like maybe she doesn't mean
and
it.
it's really sadistic.
Yeah.
She's there like, you have no life, and it's just like this robot voice, and yet you know she controls you.
Quite a calming voice, really.
It is, well, seemingly it is calming, isn't it?
And then really not
and it just
Until
comes
she
out with
says,
this line.
and then there were no survivors.
Yeah, exactly, and it's terrifying. I advise you to go and YouTube her.
I mean, play Portal 1. Like, if you want a good dose of GLaDOS, Portal 1 is really cheap on like Steam. You can find it. I think it's even cheap on PlayStations and Xboxes and stuff. It's like 4 hours long or something, and she is the star of that game through and through.
I know quite a few people who don't really play video games that much who've played Portal and loved it. It's an excellent game.
It is an excellent game. But as I said, she is an AI, and she's there to serve a purpose, which is to do testing. But she takes on her own personality, and that manifests in her sort of sadistic kind of tendencies. And throughout the game, she goes from being this evil character, but quite funny, to becoming this kind of weirdly sympathetic character who you kind of get along with. And this is why she's a potato. And it's just so funny. The writing for her is brilliant, and I think she will go down as an iconic, if not already,
She really has,
a villain. So
you learn a lot about her backstory during the game, which obviously we won't say, which is also quite important to appreciating a character, don't you? Well, not quite a lot, but it's a lot is.
Yeah, there's that's true. Actually, that's fair. Actually, there's a lot behind her character,
which really expands it
at the facility, which brings a lot of intrigue. So no, if you can have a villain that stands out so well whilst in the form of a potato, then I think you've done pretty well there.
Yeah, that's a pretty well written villain.
I'm pretty happy with that. So GLaDOS and Wheatley, sort of.
Wheatley is kind of brilliant, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Like when he takes over the facility and he wants to make his own turrets, and they're all just kind of naff.
And they're all just really rubbish.
And he's being diabolical, and he's like, "Oh, go, my pretties," and they all just fall apart.
And he's like, "What are you doing?"
He's so comically evil, isn't he? He's brilliant.
So you've got GLaDOS as a computer, and then you've got Wheatley, who's kind of the Cornish Stephen Merchant, playing this little robot who ends up becoming the main bad guy, who ends up on the moon at the end, which is brilliant. But he's very funny and equally sadistic. So they're both going in, but mainly GLaDOS.
We'll have a little Wheatley next to GLaDOS
Tiny
on the
little
Hall of
Wheatley on her
Game.
shoulder. So Hall of Game's done. And it appears we have more time than we thought.
Yeah, we do. We are now going to be with you all the way until 3:30, I've been informed. So yeah, we're going to go to a song now, and when we come back, we are of course going to be talking about some games that are coming up, and we're going to build the hype for those games. But for now, here is the Halo theme.
So we're back, and that was the Halo theme tune. So we've done Hall of Game, we chatted about our favourite villains, and now we just come up with this. We thought we'd have a quick chat about the games that you can be playing with your mates. So we're not talking single player. We're talking about the games that you can sit around with your mates on the sofa, pass control around, whatever, and just have a bash, as it were.
So what do you want to talk about, Henry? This particular segment comes from Henry's mind.
It does indeed,
because he wanted to talk about
Towerfall.
Brilliant.
It's a game I've wanted to talk about for a while now, and there's nothing new. It hasn't been updated recently, which is why you should go and get it, because it's all there for you. Basically, Towerfall is a battle royale game. You play 4 players. 4 player, you can do that locally, so you can all sit on the sofa, 4 of you. And basically, you are little archers in each corner of the screen, and you have about 3 arrows, and you go around and you fire arrows at each other. And if you kill someone, you don't get an arrow, but you do. They can become a ghost.
They can become a ghost. Yeah,
you can go around and you fire arrows at each other, and there's a bit of platforming, and then you have all these kind of variables that you can attach to the game. So you
that's
can have
the magic of Towerfall.
You can have random arrows, or you can have
all laser arrows,
exploding corpses, or bodies turn into ghosts, and you can then
all drill arrows, all ghosts. Let's go.
And this week I've had a lot of fun with my housemates. We have it in our living room, which is like the central hub of our house, and we a couple occasionally at night we'll sit down and we'll just play for 2 hours, and we'll just play endless games of Towerfall, and it's great fun.
Game. Yeah, we played it quite a lot in a second year.
I think it must have been first year, because I got it in first year, and I bought 4. I don't even own an Xbox 360, but I bought 4 Xbox 360 controllers for Towerfall and a similar game called Samurai Gun. Because
Samurai Gun.
There was this brief period a few years ago where there was a lot of really high quality 4-player local co-op platforming, like competitive multiplayer games, and Towerfall Ascension is one of them, and it's a stunning game. It's so good.
I spent a good long time playing through it. It's got a sort of single player campaign where you...
It does, yeah.
I spent a good while doing that. I was obsessed with it. It's such a good game.
My housemate James was playing one of the really hard missions, and we all sat there watching him, because you should never play a mission in front of your friends or whatever online on your own. Anyway, he sat there and we were just slating like, oh mate, you're gonna get killed. And then a ghost just whacked him and he died. And he was getting so angry as he was just trying to do this bloody mission. Like, it was really funny. But yeah, as I said, locally co-op, you can sit around with your mates, just that's just a lot of fun, isn't it?
It's possibly one of my favourite games to do that with.
And like you said, the variables are like the most interesting part about it, because at some point, like 4 people with 3 hours each in a platforming section, like area, is interesting. But it's when you go, everyone starts with wings, and all the pickups in it are only really, really good pickups, and you also have infinite arrows, but then those arrows are also drills that can pass through things, and then you also have shields, and suddenly the game balloons into just complete insanity. And then when you go, but then every 30 seconds the map like flips upside down in mirrors, and like all your controls are backwards and stuff.
Playing as well.
It's it's a really, really awesome game. And it's well worth, like, anybody who's got a computer that can run it and enough Xbox controllers to play 4-player should do it, because you have 4 people sit down. It's wicked.
It is a lot of fun. And sorry, do you want to say?
I had it on my laptop that was really, really quite bad, and it ran fine. So.
That's the thing. The art style is what is it? 26-bit or something?
I guess it's like pixel art, isn't it?
It's 2D.
Like,
it's pixely. It's quite.
Like I think at some point it's a little bit too many colours for 16-bit, but it's just pixel art. It's just nice pixel art.
It looks very retro, but I mean, in such a simple premise, they've made this incredible game, and it is just a lot of fun. It really is, and anyone can play it as well.
It did actually get updated, not that recently, but like a
year
ago.
They got an expansion, didn't they?
They got the expansion.
Which you haven't bought yet.
What was that expansion called?
It was called The Dark World.
Yeah, something like that.
You played that, didn't you?
I did, which was again really fun. It's more powerful. What?
Yeah, it was like it was just more of the same, really. But it's a fantastic game. Recommend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, moving on now, I want to talk about a game that I haven't played yet. But it's a game that I've seen so many people play it, and it looks really, really cool to play. It's a local co-op game. Again, it's a 4-player game, and it's called Screen Cheat. Now, what this game is it's sort of, so when you were younger, you sit down with your mates and play, maybe play Call of Duty, and you know where your opponent would be just by looking at their screen, and everyone got really touchy-feely about, you shouldn't be looking at my screen, what the hell are you doing, man? And so what this game does is it encourages, essentially, just to look at your opponent's screen, because essentially it splits a TV screen into 4 different quadrants, and you can't see any other character on your screen, and they can't see you, but the maps are such that they are very colourful, and there are 4 distinct sort of areas of the map. It will be like green, purple, red and yellow, and you'll be able to see on your opponent's screen just what colour they are and what's around them, and you should be able to go and hunt them down by looking at that. But also at the same time, you've got to be keeping an eye on other people who are trying to chase you down as well. So I think that's I haven't played it, but from what I've seen, it looks to be a very, very tactical game, and it's something that I think it's such an ingenious concept, to encourage something like that.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Well, they've taken like the bane of local first-person shooters, and they've made it an entire video game, which is genius.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, like I say, I haven't played it yet, but it's definitely one of those games in the coming weeks that I'm going to be perhaps looking to purchase, perhaps sit down, play it with a couple of my mates, and just see if there is an art to it, or if it is just maybe trying to chase down people and try and.
Well, Jack, there does happen to be 4 of us.
Yeah, I mean, it would be brilliant. I mean, if we could set that up, that would be amazing. But
we come back and have experiences on the show.
But yeah, I mean that would be good. But yeah, that's definitely a game for if you want a good game that's a local co-op game. I think it is relatively cheap on Steam at the moment. But yeah, it looks like something that could be a lot of fun.
That sounds awesome.
That does sound really fun.
Henry, our rabid listenership is calling you out on picking 2 characters.
Yes, they are. No, I was really sad because it seems someone actually is squeezing me on the Hall of Game. Am I going to Stephen Merchant or GLaDOS?
So Wheatley or GLaDOS? Can you give us a definitive answer?
You gotta go GLaDOS. Come on.
Going to go with GLaDOS.
Yeah, it was the right choice. Wheatley's pretty good.
We'll have a tiny.
Tiny little Wheatley. Can we have him on the moon in the top corner or something?
If in a few weeks' time we do funniest video game characters, I imagine Wheatley will come back because he is hilarious.
Yeah, definitely. And remember to sign off your text so that we can shout at you and tell you how, thank you for squeezing me on that particular decision. Dylan, have you got any games, any multiplayer games you want to talk about?
So we went through a phase of playing quite a lot of party games, and one that often came up was this one called Speedrunners. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I haven't, no.
But what it is you start, you all start at, you start the same way. You've got to run around a map, and you just keep going around the same loop over and over again until the last person dies. And you die by falling off the edge of the map, I think it is. I've not played it in a while, but fairly certain that's it. You die by falling off the edge of the map, and then once either a timer hits or the first person falls off the edge of the map, the screen keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So eventually, when you're playing with a few quite good people, you've got two or three people right in the middle of the screen.
Like a tiny, tiny window.
The room for error is ridiculously small, and it gets very, very heated. And I remember when we were playing that, I got shouted at a few times because me and my housemate, we kept switching between us, and we were both quite good at it. And people got quite annoyed at us.
I distinctly remember being very, very upset with you,
Someone
Dylan.
told me off because I bought it afterwards. So I was playing it. I think it was on Mark's laptop.
Yeah.
And then I bought it afterwards because it was cheap on Steam. And someone actually told me off for buying it because they said you're too good at it already. You don't need to keep playing.
It's irritating when you got on Ray. He's just like so good at it, and you're just crushing it all. Like.
Yeah, it's
Felt good for me.
Speedrunners is a really cool game though. It's got good music and the flow to it's really nice. There's grapples, there's jumps, it's
2D Titanfall.
Yeah,
That sounds awesome.
It's all about sort of chaining together power-ups and jumps and grapples and things to try and get around this course really, really quick. Because the idea is, if you get out in front, the screen follows you, and then people get closer to the back of the screen, and when they hit the back of the screen, they die.
Although sometimes it breaks a little bit. We've had a few people get if you go too far to the front, but also at the top. So if you go off the top front corner,
yeah, you can kill yourself.
Which is annoying. But I was ahead.
That sounds awesome. Definitely give
But
that a look.
it's a well cool party game.
Yeah, that sounds sick.
On sale, isn't it? It gets
Is it?
really cheap.
Oh, cool. Actually, there's one game I would like to talk about. Sorry.
I'm sorry, but we are going to have to go to a song, and when we come back, hopefully we might be talking about a bit of hype. But yeah, we're going to go to a song. Here is Hey Mario by Patent Pending.
And we're back, and that was Hey Mario by Patent Pending. Now, we're going to go on to some hype, but just quickly, I'm just going to tell you to go and Google this game because it's hilarious. It's called Gang Beasts.
Yeah,
basically,
Gang Beasts is good.
Jelly Baby UFC. Go and Google it. It's hilarious.
That's a very, very apt description.
Drunken bar fight simulator, I've heard it called as well. Yeah, Gang Beasts, brilliant.
Looks hilarious. I really hope they bring it on consoles. So yeah,
I think it's coming to PlayStation 4 at some point.
Yeah, hopefully.
At some point.
Yeah, exactly.
It was at their E3 presentation years ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
epic.
2014 or something.
Oh, happy days. Right, so we're going to be at hype. There are a lot of games coming out. We are literally in the thick of it right now. So, a few games coming out. At the end of this month, we've got the new Pokemon Sun and Moon coming out. Are we excited?
I am a massive fan of the Pokemon series. I am sort of apprehensive about this one. My opinion, I know that there's going to be a lot of other differing opinions, but my opinion is that they're sort of running out of ideas for Pokemon now. Yeah. I've seen a couple of the leaked ones, and yeah, I think they've got like a sandcastle Pokemon, which it's just bizarre, isn't it? You would have thought, back in the day, you've got like likes of Pikachu, Bulbasaur. They're all original ideas. Obviously, that's the first 150. But yeah, now
I'm gonna blow your mind. Squirtle. He's a squirrel turtle.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It always gets someone.
Yeah, Squirtle. Not that original now, is he?
No.
Yeah,
not
see?
at all. But yeah,
More original than a trash bag.
There's having animals as Pokemon, and then there's having an animal object.
Is
a
it
sandcastle.
Is it Grubbish?
Yeah, a trash bag with eyes.
And then there was
you've
that
got Vanilla Ice, which is an ice cream.
There's one that's keys.
Yeah, and there's one that's like a washing machine. Pokemon's silly. Let's be honest.
There's a pirate ship anchor in the new one. He's like a ship and anchor and a wheel.
Have you seen the Alolan version of Persian? So the Meowth's evolution. So they've got these new Alolan versions, which
because it's the Alola region.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It looks so dumb. So like Persian originally looks quite cool. It's just a cat, but
It's just like a sick cat.
it's like a
Cat's
cool cat.
ill, mate.
But the new one is so cartoony and rubbish. It's awful. And it's just quite embarrassing, really. Like they've even ruined Pokemon they already have, let alone creating new ones.
But maybe it'll be really good before we just talk loads of mess about Pokemon.
Oh, of course, the game itself could be great.
It could be
I'm
really
sure
good.
it'll be fun.
I'm sure it'll be brilliant.
People will love it.
There's been a lot of things that actually I want to play. I've not played a new Pokemon game in a while, but it looks quite fun to play.
I remember I saw a new feature they introduced and it was like, oh, you'll love this. You can dress up your Pokemon and go to a dance with them. And I was like,
You can go to
not
pageants
sure I'll
and
enjoy
stuff.
that.
You can ride them in this new one.
Not sure it's going to grab me. But,
You can ride your Pokemon around the map.
Okay, that is cool.
Yeah,
I know-
like
I
you
know
saddle
that
I'm down for that.
In the latest one before that, what was it? It was X and Y, was it?
Yeah.
They introduced sort of you could ride around on Pokemon in that.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, you'd go up into the ice mountains and you get to ride on the back of a Mammothswine, which is a mammoth Pokemon, and you get to ride on the back of that. But
Yeah, you can do it with loads of different
That's
ones.
awesome. I like that.
And
What else is coming out, Henry?
flames and stuff.
Right, there's loads coming out, and as I said, we really are in the thick of it. So the video game show, well, we're your hottest journalism. But another game comes out. It's Watch Dogs 2.
We're professional here.
We are professional, as we've demonstrated. Watch Dogs 2 is coming out on the 15th of November. We excited?
Is it coming out that soon?
It is that soon. It
I
is. I know it's mad. It's really stuck out,
Again,
isn't it?
yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited about this because Watch Dogs 1 looked like it didn't really make good on the promises that sort of you wanted it to. Like it looked like it sort of fell flat in a lot of the ways that it should have been awesome. And from what I've seen of this, from the demos they put out at E3 and things like that, this new one looks really good. Apparently, like it really captures like the look and feel of San Francisco really nicely, and this new character. And
Hopefully it goes Assassin's Creed route, because that's the same thing, isn't it? The first one it was a great game. I'm not saying it's bad,
but it was kind of rough at the edges.
The second one was
Yeah.
a lot better.
Yeah, definitely.
So hopefully the same thing happens with this. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
Yeah, no. You're completely right. It is because it's an Ubisoft game as well, so it stands to reason that once again they've made a series with promise, but they've sort of flaunted a bit on the execution, and the sequel's going to nail it. Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It looks like it's oozing with character as well. I don't know if people should look up the character from the trailers, who is your boss, who's a hacker who wears a mask with an LCD screen on it, and instead of actually pulling expressions with his human face, he just makes like different faces and LEDs come up.
We are going that direction with emojis. That is going to happen.
Yeah, so like it's
Can't be bothered to smell.
It looks like even if it still has some of maybe the weaker gameplay trappings of that first one, looks like it's just got a bit more character. Because that first one, like Aidan Pearce, who's just like kind of angsty about his niece for the entire game, it's just boring. It's like, what was his big character? He's got a hat. What was his entire character? He's got a hat.
It was a cool hat.
Like, but like
bandana,
that was the pre-order bonus, wasn't it? For that game, was you got to have Aidan Pearce's like kind of whack baseball cap, and this one looks like it's just got way more character and style and charm, even if it's not a better game per se.
Sure. It's also nice to have a non-white protagonist. He's a Latino, like fantastic. You know, it's great to have this kind of diversity. I finally we can have we're getting away from this standard, cookie cutter hero.
Not everyone's Nathan Drake anymore.
Exactly, not everyone's Nathan Drake anymore. So I think it looks pretty cool. And I saw an IGN preview, and they said it was awesome.
Which is really promising.
They were panting about it.
Yeah, which is really promising because, like Dylan rightly said, Ubisoft have a bizarre track record with coming up with good ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
Mucking it up the first time and then really nailing it the second time around.
So this hacker game looks pretty cool. But on that note that you just said, Ubisoft making games that don't work out, I am going to go straight into a game called Steep.
Ooh,
There's a beta for that coming out. And you can register now on the Ubisoft website for it. I've registered for it because when I first saw it, I was like, what's the whole concept of this game? So essentially, what is it? It's you're doing extreme sports, and essentially you're doing like a point of view with your GoPro footage.
Yeah, it's GoPro
on
the
your
game,
head,
right?
and it's essentially
Literally, it's GoPro the game. Yeah.
What extreme sports? Jack, you used to know this game. What extreme sports do you engage in Steep?
You can do base jumping, you can do snowboarding, ski, all kinds of
snowy,
all kind of sort of snow sports, really. And I mean, from what I've seen of it, is that you can sit down after you've done like maybe a really insane run, you've done a couple of good stunts, you can sit down and you can watch back your footage and you can edit it together, and it looks really, really cool. I mean, it's something that I mean, like I say, when I first saw it, I didn't have a clue what it was going on. I thought it was just like another snowboarding game or something like that. But you sit down and watch a couple of the videos about it, and it does look absolutely insane.
At E3 they didn't really nail showing it off.
Not at all.
You don't think so?
No, it looked like it looked like SSX, but a bit cooler, a bit more.
Sure.
But
I don't know, mate. SSX is pretty cool. That's a bold
tricky.
claim, mate.
No, I mean as in like a newer version. SSX
sure.
is a great game, although the latest one was a bit
rubbish, wasn't it? Yeah.
Is that weird Wii one that has a stand on a board for it?
No, there was.
No, that was Wii Ski or something. Or Ski Wii.
It was just
Yellow Snow.
It was just really.
On Nintendo.
And moving on from Steep, what else do we have coming out?
Speaking of Yellow Snow, there are loads of games. So we've got The Last Guardian coming out, and this is a PS4 game coming out. And this game has been surrounded by controversy. It's been 10 years in the making, and then it was cancelled, and then it wasn't, and it was cancelled, Anyway, it is coming out this month, and it's about a big, giant dog bird thing.
It's a griffin, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're like a dude, and then
bird.
you've got like a baby griffin who looks. It's literally like a big murderous kitten, doesn't it? I don't know what they mocapped to make that thing look like it looks, but it must be a kitten, right?
I really hope a kitten with just like a ball of yarn or something.
Yeah, because like, the way like it moves its head, and it's you are in a big environment, and you have to solve puzzles and interact and explore this world with you and your big murder kitten.
Big, big dog kitten thing.
Bird thing. It's got a beak, it's got feathers, but it's kind of a dog.
Is it made by Sony Japan?
It's made by Team Ico,
Oh, Team Ico.
who
that's
have
what
produced Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, and this is their third game, which was known as Trico for a very long time.
Trico, yeah.
Pretty good name.
Yeah, but it's obviously they are a Japanese studio.
Yeah, they
it's
are.
published by Sony.
They're first
they're
party, aren't
yeah, so they're owned and run by Sony. And they are a big part of like the Sony legacy. Like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are two of like the most critically acclaimed games on the PS2, and they were known
definitely.
for doing some really interesting things, pushing some boundaries and trying to craft experiences that were different to what else was happening at the time. So Last Guardian could be really, really cool, or it could suffer from being 10 years in the making.
Hopefully it'll be sick.
You can't really go anywhere without hearing about Shadow of the Colossus, can you? Like gaming wise,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
everywhere because it's so iconic.
Yeah.
It's a cool game, man.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus is a really awesome video game.
Well, hopefully Dogbird will be in our Hall of Game at some point this year.
Yeah,
Favorite video game. animal.
Yeah.
URN Gaming Show's favourite dogbirds.
We love Dogbird. Yeah. So no, that's coming out. And Pokemon Steep, Last Guardian. There's also the new South Park. It's the Fractured Butthole.
Oh,
That
I
looks
want to
incredible.
play
I've
that
not
game.
played the South Park game,
The
but
first one, the Stick of Truth,
Stick of
is
Truth.
incredible.
Okay,
It's
that's really good.
if
It's
you
so funny.
if you watch the show, then obviously you'll get a bit more of the sort of references that they make. But if you don't, it's still very, very funny to sit down and play, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, it was after exams last year. I got pretty hot and heavy with South Park, and I ended up watching all 19 series of South Park that were out at that time in
Lord.
about 3 weeks. And
Wow.
so I was so into South Park, so I went and bought the Stick of Truth, and the Stick of Truth is just a 12-hour episode of South Park. Stick of Truth is brilliant, and if anything I've seen about the Fractured Butthole is to be believed, it's going to be much the same. So I'm well hyped for that. That first one was really well. It's not the same developer, I don't think. It's
Is it not?
It's not Obsidian. Because Obsidian made the first one.
Is it Arcane or am I making that up?
No, Arcane are the
is
Dishonored
Dishonored.
I
guys,
know they
aren't
make
they?
Dishonored,
And
but I
Prey.
also I'm just wondering if they maybe not. But
But it's even though it's a little bit different from the first one, some of the mechanics are a bit different, but it looks like the writing's still there. And South Park is all about the writing. It's
Sure.
what those early South Park games like the N64 didn't capture and actually weren't that good because of it. But South Park Stick of Truth is genius, and with Fractured Butthole they're going from
Was it like an RPG
they're
sort
going
of
from like
mage
mages
wizards
and Game
or
of Thrones
stuff like that?
knockoff into
Superheroes, isn't it?
superheroes. Yeah, so they're bringing back like the famous superheroes from the show, which are definitely not radio appropriate names to mention, so I'm not going to. But it looks brilliant.
it does look good. There is a game which come out, the new Zelda. However, we could go on that for us. I think we're going to dedicate that to a significant portion of another show.
Yeah,
So
probably.
we will
in
talk
March.
about that. But games that are coming out in the pipeline, these are a bit further on the field. We've got Mass Effect Andromeda, which come out next year. For those who don't know, Mass Effect is a massive BioWare game. It's a sort of RPG set in space, it's like a space opera, and you control third person, a commander of a spaceship, and you assemble a team. It's very Star Trek-esque, and you go to planets, you meet different races of alien, you get involved in politics, and you sort of deal with the bad guys. And generally, the stories are fantastic.
Incredibly well written, as
Yeah.
most BioWare games are.
And they're also very progressive games as well. You know, Mass Effect has made a hallmark for kind of, in there you can have sort of any kind of relationship you want in the romantic sense, and that's great. And so
You can sleep with that alien.
Exactly.
You can sleep with that
You
alien.
can see what that is.
if you want to.
Boy,
If that's
girl,
what you-
whatever. You know. So that's really cool. That's coming next year. Very, very excited about that. It's been a huge open world. Cannot wait for that.
Do you know what else is coming out next year that you guys spoke about in the demo show
What's that,
we
Mark?
haven't spoken about yet? Red Dead Redemption
Red
2.
Dead Redemption 2, and there goes the rest of our show talking about Red Dead. That looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, all they've shown is some pretty it's a pretty slow-paced trailer, just sort of
it's not
setting
the
up.
best trailer, but I mean, you'd expect them not to build it up at
Nah.
most.
Yeah,
You know,
like
they want to build
GTA
it
games
up
have that as well,
gradually,
don't they? Like Rockstar,
Yeah.
They're
like to-
readying up the hype
definitely.
train, but they've not quite set it off from the station.
like Rockstar like to put out a trailer that just sort of shows off, okay, this is where it's set, and this just sort of shows the atmosphere we're going, and then I'm sure we'll have a story trailer where it shows off the more. It's looking like it's going to be based in sort of a Magnificent Seven kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like
That's
they've
what
put out a picture of like a sunset with 7 guys silhouetted in it, all cowboyed up.
The end of the
looks like-
trailer is 7 people
Yeah.
riding off. Past
So,
the camera.
yeah, I mean that looks like it's going to be really, really cool.
Very
that
cool.
First game is
Hopefully,
pretty
yeah.
rad.
The
I
first
wish
one
I'd
was
finished
intense.
it.
Yeah. Oh, wait, did you finish it?
I played about 15 hours and then something else came out.
That is cardinal.
I mean, I know how it ends, which is also kind of sad as well.
Yeah,
but
no.
yeah, that first game is rad, and if that second one is anything like it, then I imagine it's going to continue to be pretty good.
Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah. I think it inspired a lot of what came out after it. Not necessarily directly, but there's certainly echoes
Assassin's
of
Creed
it.
3 was heavily influenced by it.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of wilderness.
Yeah, just a lot of
definitely.
style and execution from it, and like hunting and skinning and collecting things, and just the way you existed in a world of animals and things. Like, that was one of the first games to really do that idea of you're in this world and there are loads of like animals and things going on around it. Like, you can just bump into people getting their cart robbed and things like that, and it had a really well-made sense of place, which I think is
really
important.
quite intense for such a slow-paced game. When you really think about playing it, it goes quite slowly, but you don't ever notice.
No, that's true, actually.
There's a lot of riding between places, and even the beginning, because it's so much tutorial, obviously, because there's so much in it. The beginning takes a while, but you never notice. I think that's just, hopefully they get the same thing. You're walking around for a long time.
When I bought Red Dead, and it's the only time this ever happened, I went to the HMV and the guy said, mate, this is going to have a fun week. I've never had that before, Red Dead, and he was absolutely right.
That's pretty cool.
Brilliant.
I think we're nearing the end of our show, gents.
We are indeed.
Yeah, we are indeed. Thank you very much, guys, for coming on to the Video Game Show for our second ever show. Of course, if you are listening in, please do be free to go onto Facebook and like our page. It is a Video Game Show on URN. Go and hit that up.
Comment, subscribe.
Like on that, or like on that page. Just like to say again, a massive thanks to Dylan, Henry, and Mark for joining us in the studio.
Thank you, Jack, for running the decks for us, mate.
Thank you
Excellent,
very
thank
much.
you
We
very
are going to leave you with a song. And when we come back, it is, of course, the URN Sport are going to be taking you all the way through until 6 o'clock with, of course, starting out after our show, it's going to be a League of Their Own, which is our sort of comedy look, our light-hearted look at
brilliant.
sports this week. But for now, here is Body Moves by Dart.
Happy gaming, folks.